Good evening, and thank you everyone for joining us for one more therapeutic meeting at Lighting the Shire Spiritist Group. My name is Fran Diogo, and I'll be taking you through tonight's therapeutic meeting, which is going to cover the topic afflictions and true happiness. So, first and foremost, I just wanted to thank you for being here with us, for listening to this talk. And just to let you know, if you're listening in before 8 p.m. on the 15th of June, that is the night we have our therapeutic meeting online. Please feel free to join us for the discussions on the topic and for also a healing meditation that will follow. So, if you're listening to this after that, not a problem. We hope you can make the most of the topic and somehow put a nice perspective into it for your life. So, thank you again for joining us. And we'll start with just some idea in terms of the Spiritist concept of happiness. What does it mean? So, some of us might think that happiness is enjoying a nice sunny day, or happiness is being healthy. Happiness is to be in the company of someone that we love. So, whilst we all have a different idea of what happiness is, or we all have different experiences of happiness and situations that bring us that joy, that happiness, um, there is a lovely message in the gospel according to Spiritism that reminds us of the passage on the book of Ecclesiastic talking about happiness is not of this world. So this message was from Francois Nicolas Madeleine, Cardinal Merlot in Paris, 1863. And the message basically reminds us that there's so much more to happiness than the temporary things that we sometimes attach it to when we are in this realm, in the material realm. And there's a level of divine happiness, divine joy that we all have to learn to yield. So that would be the true essence of happiness, that we connect with the creation, with the source. And the elevated spirits, the light workers that are working with our planet here, our planet Earth, and some other light workers that are helping civilizations improve and helping us, um, I think, check other perspectives to life and um, have a different approach to our daily living and this connection with the divine. They all have gone through the process that we have gone through. They just are a little bit more advanced, but they experience this level of joy by generally, amongst other things, helping others, helping those who haven't got the level of evolution that they have got. So this message was given to us in the Gospel according to Spiritism to help us understand um, that there's a lot more to the concept of happiness than what we perceive. And one of the things that help us understand the depth of happiness that we can feel is understanding the temporarity of what we're living in this sphere, right? So Hamed, another spiritual author, he says that being happy, feeling joy is not a matter of circumstance, of being accompanied or alone, of um, circumstances that are materially speaking, like things that are outside of our control, but an attitude before the tasks that we have come to develop in this planet, in this lifetime. So it is a way of living. It is an approach to everyday life. It is an approach to our daily commitments, to observing things around us with the eyes of joy, of happiness, of appreciation, of acceptance. So we can see every day different things in our lives and we can complain about them, or we can say that we're not happy, or that happiness wasn't designed for us because look at our lives, we just have issues and problems. So it is a state of mind. And if we are always in this state of mind, things are not positive, I'm not lucky, happiness is not for me. These belief systems that we create um, basically create this energy around us, and we sink deeper and deeper into this rabbit hole. And we need to bring this attitude of happiness, of acceptance, sometimes of the difficulties that we might be living. But one thing that Spiritism really helps us in terms of giving us hope is that nothing that we live in this life is eternal. We live here temporarily, and there are things to look forward to in this future life. So, this is the approach that we have to um, this material life. So, this is one of the things that we create for ourselves that makes us not perceive happiness as it is, or as it was designed for us. So, if we have this fragile state of mind, living in a dream of what will make us happy one day, or what would it be like to have this and this that would make us happy, we are always putting our happiness into outside circumstances, um, outside of our control, instead of taking it into our responsibility to do the best with what we were given, and to, I guess, live and experience things the way that we were meant to experience things, not looking at how others are living, right? So sometimes we put those limitations into our lives. So we have these thoughts and these sentences. Oh, when you're young, you say, when I get older and I'm more independent, I'll be happy. When I move out of my parents' house and I have more independence, I'll be happy. Or when I have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, I'll be happy. Some of us that are living here in Australia that weren't born here, we sometimes would say, oh, yeah, because I'm going to move overseas. So when I move to Australia, I'll be happy because over there people are happy. Or I say, if I get my dream house or my dream job, I'll be happy. When I get my permanent residency, I'll be happy. A lot of us went through these steps when we were setting up a life overseas. We needed to see how life was like, if we wanted to stay or go back to our home countries. But our happiness is not attached to those things. Those are all temporary things that we're living through in order to grow, develop skills, and all the experiences can bring us joy and happiness if we're living in the moment. So it seems like we're achieving things, and part of putting the happiness in the future far away, instead of saying, look, I'm going to appreciate what I have now. I'm going to have this attitude of positivity with what I have now, appreciation to what I have now. This is actually creating the issues that we might live, this fragile mental state that we might live with. Um, so instead of putting our happiness into those outside circumstances, why not bring it into our responsibility? That would be one step, I guess, into getting happier, living happier. Take ownership of our lives, try to make it happen. So there's a beautiful message here from the Pentecost group from Saint Gementine, that was also mediumship, I guess, a message that was psychographed in a mediumship meeting back when Kardec was amongst us. So this was published on the Spiritist Review into the Journal of Psychological Studies in 1862. The name of the author is Hippolyte Fortot, and he gives us a beautiful message helping us seeing what happiness is really all about. And I'll read it so we can have a little reflection. And by the way, if you're ever interested in reading more um, items, passages, messages that are on the Spiritist Review, a lot of Spiritists don't have access to this, and they're so important. There is a website called Kardekopedia. So it's www.kardec.com encyclopedia.com. And you can actually search for any keyword and it will bring up like all the results into which books of Kadek's codification, the 5 books, and all the Spirits Review magazine, the issues, the different issues that they had published. It will bring you all the results, and you can actually then read these different messages and focus on the topic that you're searching for. So that's a very nice hint. So I'll read this message here. So he said, once animated by the spirit of the Creator, your happiness will be so great that you cannot imagine. It depends on you to achieve that. From that moment, your days will be considered as a stretch to the path to achieve the destiny, and where at the end of the day are going to receive your meal and shelter for the night. The small amount of relative importance that you must associate with the earthly things must not distract you from the very serious material duties. In the eyes of the Creator, it is a serious mistake if you do not consciously perform your everyday duties. Nothing has nothing that has come out of the Creator's hands must be neglected. Within limits, you must enjoy the material assets that you were given. Your duty is to share them with your brothers and sisters who were precluded from them, and do not keep them exclusively to you. A pure conscience, a boundless charity, and a limitless humility, that is the best prayer to attract the same spirit. It is the true Venai Creator, but that does not mean that the one sung at the church is not a prayer that will be blessed whenever it comes from the heart. As it has been said many times, the intention is everything, the form is nothing. Pray through your actions that the Saint Spirit come to visit you and will spill upon your soul the strength that gives you the faith necessary to overcome the miseries of human existence on earth and to reach out to those brothers and sisters whose weaknesses of spirit preclude them from seeing the light, without which you can only grope around, risking to shock against every obstacle spread on your way. True happiness, sought by everyone, is there, reachable by everybody. It is a matter of will to reach it. So, beautiful message once again. And basically, he reminds us here that we can enjoy things from our material life. There's nothing wrong with that. And we should focus on fulfilling our duties here, as our roles as, parents, daughters, sons, sisters, brothers, wife, husband, co-worker, student. It doesn't matter um, what kind of relationship we are assessing. Any relationship that we have, and every relationship that we have, um, is part of a bigger plan for our growth and for others. So he reminds us here that we should learn to share what we have. That's a way to be happy. It's not to enjoy everything selfishly on our own terms. It is to use our qualities, our virtues, put our energy, ourselves into the service of others, and also, of course, enjoying what life has to offer. If we live with actions that are designed to do good for ourselves and for others, we are going to be getting closer to achieving this happiness that he describes. This essence of creation that's inside of us. And we need to speak a little bit about afflictions and things that prevent us from living this happiness that we sometimes idealize in our heads. Which there's nothing wrong with idealizing, but sometimes we see that there are a lot of misfortunes in our lives or in the lives of others. And that's one thing that for me was the key to believing in the Spiritist body of knowledge and to wanting to study more and observing more about it, because it was the only philosophy that I encountered that explained why there are so many inequalities. So if you come from a principle of people only living one life, we're never going to be able to explain the inequalities, the suffering that sometimes people experience, and there's no evident reason for it. There's a lot of honest people that have never done a lot of wrongdoing to anyone. Actually, their actions are very positive and they're very positive people overall. And you see them going through a lot of suffering. So, how is that explained if not thinking about past causes of afflictions? So, when we understand that we are eternal spirits, we're living through multiple number of reincarnations, and today in this life we are the heirs of the actions that we planted, that we sowed in our past lives. We can understand sometimes why we go through some suffering, some afflictions, and we don't think that the creator or providence is punishing us. It's actually giving us a chance to um, rebalance everything that we created imbalances in. So we're having a chance to even out our debt, to bring positivity into situations that maybe we created negativity in the past. So in the gospel according to Spiritism, in the chapter 5, Blessed are the afflicted, we have past causes of afflictions, item number 6, that explains why there are afflictions, why there are troubles in this planet, and how Spiritism explains this. So, this is what we're going to discuss now, just so we can understand how we can achieve even a further acceptance of a couple things in our lives, and work towards seeing it from a different perspective to help us develop the resignation to learn the lessons that we need to learn, and then move on to enjoying what we have, not focusing so much on the negative. So, this instruction from the spirits basically explains that although there are a lot of misfortunes that were caused in this life by man himself, there are also others that we cannot understand the explanations for, and sometimes we think it's fate. So, right now, we're going through a lot of that with this pandemic situation, right? There's a lot of people that are losing their loved ones, um, losing the breadwinner of the family, or there's accidents that we there's no way we could have prevented it happening in someone's lives. So there's all these different reverses in fortunes that might be unexplainable with the eyes of this life only. But Spiritism says that for every effect, there is a cause. And if we cannot find an explanation in this lifetime, if our behavior has been impeccable, but still we are going through a few troubles, or, our health may be decaying in a few areas, there's always something for us to learn from that experience. And there's always a cause. No one is solely a victim of anything. We actually have done a lot of things in the past. And if you look at just the history of humanity, we can see how our actions in the past were not 100% the best that could possibly exist. Hence why it took us so long, but we got all these missionaries, all these high elevated spirits that brought a lot of incentives for us to try and change. So these missionaries, people like Nelson Mandela, people like Mother Teresa, they all came here to go, okay, we need to do better. We need to um, dedicate ourselves and hopefully um, achieve more through love, through positive actions, right? So they all came to exemplify how we should live, but Spiritism came to explain this, why those differences. So sufferings due to causes prior to the present existence, as well as those who originate from present causes, are frequently the consequences of errors which have been committed. So we always have a reaction to the actions that we have committed, either now or in the past. But if we learn how to make the most of the experience that we're living, and we learn from those experiences, we are then even with the divine law. So basically, he explains here, this is to say, through the action of rigorously distributive justice, we come to suffer what we have made others suffer. If we had been hard and inhumane, we may be treated with harshness and inhumanity. If we were too full of pride, we may be born in humble circumstances. If we have been miserly, selfish, or very bad, and we made bad use of our riches, we might find ourselves deprived of the means to survive. We may have been a bad son or daughter, and we may suffer from the behavior of our children. So, in every situation we created some imbalance, we need to then go through the situation, create positivity, and then we become even. And that's why the Apostle Paul also said that love would help us be forgiven for a multitude of sins. And it's true. So the divine law is not an eye for an eye. It is, once we've learned, if we are willing to repent ourselves, if we're open to creating positivity, we are often forgiven. Divine mercy is actually always there supporting us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have all the capabilities that we have. We wouldn't have the situations, the blessings that we have in our lives. So everything is given to us with with balance. You know, the creator is definitely a very wise energy, a very wise source of intelligence. So it's fair, it's just, and he knows how much we're capable of doing. So our reincarnatory plans are generally taking into consideration how much we can do, or if we're not capable of doing, something that we have done in the past, we they put that on hold. It's like a little credit that they apply into our account, and then eventually we will have to learn from those kind of situations. But it's broken down into installments for us. Each lifetime there's so much that we have to repair, relationships that we have to try to rebalance, good that we need to do in certain areas. But we're always given the opportunity to enjoy that life. We were born to be happy. I think this is one thing that we need to understand. We shouldn't have this approach to life as in, oh, we came here to suffer, so I need to suffer and I need to be resigned. Of course, being resigned helps. Acceptance is an attitude that helps us, I guess, um, process the situations that we're living in, observe the learning that we need to learn, but we are born to be happy. So we need to look for those actions that are in line with the divine law, that are benefiting ourselves and others. And we need to dwell in those moments and also take some time to observe this positive energy that's emanated from nature, from all the divine sources, through prayer. And like the spirit here told us, Hippolyte, um, foretold, he said, our positive actions are like a prayer, are like a meditation. We are bringing positivity into our lives and we're acting in a positive way towards others. So that is what we understand would entail the true happiness. The true happiness is having peace of consciousness. It's learning to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, and being appreciative, being grateful for everything that we have received, for the blessings that we have, instead of looking at what we don't have, what's not right. So we hope that this positive, highlights into how we can overcome the issues that we're living through these days, and understand happiness in its true extent, can help us live better lives. We would love to welcome you into our discussions if you are online. So from 8 p.m. on the 15th of June, 2021, we will be online through the Zoom link that I've shared here in our page and on Instagram. So I hope you can join us. Thank you so much for your attention. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. May a lot of peace and happiness be with you now and always. Thank you.